They say you don't recognize the moment your life falls apart until long after it happens. But looking back now, I can tell you the exact moment the first crack appeared. I used to think I was one of the lucky ones. Every morning, I woke up next to Anna, the woman I'd loved since college. She'd still be half asleep, curled into me like we were kids again, like the world outside our little house didn't exist. We had two beautiful kids, Emma and Ben. The kind of kids who run up the driveway when you pull in after work, arms wide, screaming your name like you're some kind of hero. We had the house, too. A place we built together, the creaky floors, the paint colors we fought over but ended up loving, the backyard where I taught Ben to throw a baseball and Emma to ride her bike without training wheels. It wasn't just a house. It was ours. It was home. I'd come through that door after work and find Anna dancing in the kitchen, humming to the music only she could hear, flipping pancakes for dinner because sometimes breakfast for dinner just feels right. She had this laugh, loud, unapologetic, that filled every room and made me believe, without a doubt, that I'd won the lottery the day she said yes. If you'd asked me then, I would have told you I had it all. And I would have meant every word. The changes were small at first. So small they barely registered. Anna started going out more. Girls' nights, she said. At first, I encouraged it. She deserved to unwind, to have fun. Being a mother, a wife, it could be heavy sometimes. I saw that. But after a while, girls' night became out late, and out late became don't wait up. I remember the first time it truly hit me. I was cleaning up after dinner, alone, and her phone buzzed on the counter. Just instinct, I glanced over. Screen locked. Of course. It hadn't been, before. When she got home that night, she smelled like a perfume I didn't recognize. Something heavier, sharper than the light, floral scents she always wore. I asked how her night was. She smiled, tight, distracted, and said it was fine. Then disappeared upstairs before I could ask anything more. I told myself not to overthink it. Stress. Work was busy for her. The kids had been a handful lately. Maybe she just needed space. God knows marriage isn't a fairy tale every day. I wasn't naive. But the distance between us started to grow, so gradually it almost felt natural. Like winter creeping in. One evening, we sat together on the couch, her scrolling through her phone, me pretending to watch the news. I made a joke, something dumb, something that would have made her laugh once. She didn't even look up. I told myself it was just a phase. That we were solid enough to survive a few cold spells. A few weeks later, she started guarding her phone like a secret. She'd tilt the screen away when I walked by. Step outside to take calls. She used to share everything with me, now I wasn't sure if I even made the guest list to her life anymore. I'd lie awake at night sometimes, staring at the ceiling, trying to convince myself it was just in my head. I'd run through excuses like a desperate lawyer. She's tired. She's overwhelmed. You're being paranoid. I'd roll over and watch her sleep, that familiar face so peaceful in the dim light, and I'd wonder. When had she started dreaming without me? One Saturday night, I offered to take her out. Just the two of us. We hadn't had a real date night in months. She hesitated. I'm just exhausted, babe, she said, not meeting my eyes. Rain check. I nodded, smiled, kissed her forehead. Told her it was fine. But it wasn't. It was the beginning of something I couldn't name yet, a slow unraveling of a life I thought was unshakable. And somewhere deep down, though I wasn't ready to admit it yet, I knew. It was a Thursday afternoon. I remember because it had rained that morning, one of those cold, gray rains that seem to seep into your bones. I was standing in line at the local hardware store, picking up some supplies for the backyard project I'd been meaning to finish for weeks, when I saw him. Mark. An old friend. A guy who used to come over for barbecues, watch the games with me on Sundays, toss a few beers back while the kids played in the yard. We hadn't talked in a while. Life just moved, you know. He clapped me on the shoulder like old times. We shot the breeze, work, kids, the usual. But as we talked, I noticed something in his eyes. A hesitation. Like there was something he wanted to say but wasn't sure if he should. Finally, he glanced around, lowered his voice, and said it. "Hey, listen, man. I don't want to stir anything up. Maybe it's nothing. But..." He rubbed the back of his neck awkwardly. "I was downtown last week. Saw Anna. She was at that new wine bar, with some guy. Not one of her usual girlfriends." I blinked. "Maybe it was someone from work," I said, shrugging like it didn't dig straight into my chest. "Yeah," Mark said quickly. "Yeah, maybe. Just, thought you should know." We parted ways after that. I thanked him, or at least I think I did. Honestly, I barely remember walking to my truck. My hands were shaking so badly I almost dropped the keys. That night, I watched her more carefully. The way she smiled at her phone. The way she tilted the screen away from me like a kid hiding a secret. The way she said she was meeting the girls, but didn't bother offering details. It could be nothing. I told myself that, over and over. Marriage is built on trust. If you don't have that, what do you have? But when trust and denial start to look the same, it's a dangerous thing. The real cracks showed the next weekend. I was folding laundry in the bedroom, her laundry, when I noticed it. A blouse I didn't recognize. Silky. Low cut. Definitely not her usual style. There was still a price tag tucked into the seam. She'd told me she'd been shopping with the girls. Said she'd gotten a sweater on sale. Nothing about something like this. I held the blouse up, turning it over in my hands like it might confess its secrets to me. It smelled faintly of her perfume, and something else. Cologne, maybe. Sharp and unfamiliar. I stuffed it back into the drawer, heart hammering. Maybe she just wanted to feel good about herself. Maybe she's just trying something new. I was becoming an expert in building excuses. But the phone. The damn phone. Late that night, while she was in the shower, her phone lit up on the nightstand. Just a glance. I swear it was just a glance. A text preview. "Can't stop thinking about you. Thursday can't come soon enough." No name. Just a number I didn't recognize. My stomach twisted so hard I thought I might be sick right there on the bed. The sound of the water running in the bathroom somehow made it worse. That normal, everyday sound. Like nothing had changed. Like the floor hadn't just fallen out from under my life. I sat there in the dark, phone still buzzing beside me, and tried to breathe. Tried to think. I could confront her now. Demand answers. Tear the whole thing open. But what if I was wrong? What if I was misreading everything? What if I shattered everything, including my kids' lives, over a stupid misunderstanding? I put the phone down. Carefully. Quietly. By the time she stepped out of the bathroom, wrapped in a towel and humming some song under her breath, I was lying in bed, pretending to be asleep. Heart racing. Mind screaming. I stayed like that all night. Wide awake. Alone, even with her inches away. The next morning, I smiled across the breakfast table like nothing was wrong. Because that's what you do, isn't it? You protect the life you built, even if it's already crumbling. You tell yourself you're a man. You tell yourself you can fix this. You tell yourself, not yet. Not until you know for sure. But deep down, I already knew. I just didn't know how much worse it was going to get. They say the truth will set you free. But they never tell you how much it'll hurt first. It started simple. A Saturday morning. Anna was heading out to brunch with the girls, she said, dropping a quick kiss on my cheek. Her smile was forced. Her hug was stiff. I stood at the window, coffee in hand, and watched her drive away. She didn't even glance back. Something inside me hardened. It was time to stop making excuses. It was time to find out the truth, whatever it was. I'd never been the kind of man who snooped. If you need to spy on your wife, people say, you've already lost. Maybe that's true. Maybe we had already lost a long time ago, and I was the only one too blind to see it. Still, I needed answers. I spent that morning doing something that felt foreign, ugly. I bought a small, discreet GPS tracker online, rush delivery. Nothing fancy. Nothing illegal. Just enough to know where her car went when she wasn't with me. And then I waited. Waited for her to leave her car unattended for 5 minutes. Waited for the right moment to slip the device into the wheel well. Waited for the guilt to pass, but it never did. The first few days, nothing. Target. Grocery store. School pickups. All the usual places, the usual times. I started to doubt myself again. Started to feel like some paranoid fool who didn't deserve the life he had. But then Thursday came. She told me she had a late work meeting. Said not to wait up. At 6:17 p.m., her car wasn't anywhere near her office building. It was parked outside a small boutique hotel on the edge of town. Not a conference center. Not a restaurant. A hotel. The tracker didn't lie. I sat there in my truck that night, engine running, staring at the blinking dot on my screen. I could drive there. I could catch her in the act. But what would that do? Would it change anything? Would it make the betrayal any less real? I turned the truck off. I went home. The old me, the trusting, easygoing me, died a quiet death in that driver's seat. And the man who stepped out of the truck that night. He wasn't interested in guesses anymore. He wanted proof. The next day, I did something I never thought I'd do. While she was in the shower, I searched her purse. Hands shaking, heart pounding so loud I thought it might wake her. At the bottom, tucked beneath her wallet, was a second phone. Burner phone. Cheap, plastic. Disposable. I thumbed it open without thinking, and the screen lit up with a list of messages. Can't wait to see you again. Last night was unbelievable. You're the best thing that's ever happened to me. Some from numbers. Some with names I didn't recognize. And then, photos. Nothing too explicit, but enough. Her smiling in a dress I'd never seen before. Her hand on someone else's chest. Private moments that had no place existing outside our marriage. I dropped the phone back into her bag like it was burning my hand. Stumbled into the kitchen and gripped the edge of the counter until my knuckles turned white. The betrayal wasn't just real. It was worse than I could have ever imagined. This wasn't a mistake. This wasn't a one-time thing. This was deliberate. Planned. Sustained. And it wasn't just one man. It was more than that. More than I wanted to think about. Later that night, I sat across from her at dinner, watching her laugh at something Emma said, watching her tuck a piece of hair behind her ear, looking so normal. So ordinary. So damn believable. And all I could think was, how long have you been lying to me? How long have you been playing this role? How much of our life was real? She caught me looking at her, smiled the way she used to, and reached for my hand across the table. I let her take it. Because the plan was already forming in my mind. Because if she could wear a mask, so could I. I would be patient. I would be careful. I would find every piece of evidence I needed. And when the time came, I wouldn't just walk away. No. I would burn the stage she was acting on to the ground. Revenge is a funny word. Sounds childish. Emotional. Like something out of a bad movie. But this wasn't about rage. This was about precision. This was about justice. If she was going to tear down the life we built, then I was going to make damn sure she didn't get to walk away from the wreckage untouched. First, I needed evidence. Real evidence. Hard evidence. The burner phone alone wouldn't cut it. She could claim it was planted. Claim it wasn't hers. I knew Anna, she was smart, calculating when she needed to be. I couldn't just accuse her. I needed to prove it. The first thing I did was call an old college buddy, now a private investigator. I hadn't spoken to him in years, but he answered on the second ring like no time had passed at all. "Tough time?" he asked after hearing my voice. "You have no idea," I said. "I need surveillance. Discreet. Fast." He didn't ask for details. Just told me to email him everything I knew, names, addresses, photos, and he'd get started. Next, I scheduled a quiet meeting with a divorce attorney. Not some cookie-cutter suburban lawyer. No, I wanted a shark. Someone who lived for the fight. Her name was Christine Dalton. Sharp-eyed, tough as nails, zero patience for liars and cheaters. I sat across from her in her corner office, sunlight slicing across the polished wood desk between us, and laid it out. "I want custody," I told her. "I want the house. I want her lies on record. And I want it all airtight." Christine leaned back in her chair, arms folded, eyes steady. "You can get all that," she said. "But you have to be smart. Play your cards right. Pretend nothing's wrong until we're ready to move." "Done," I said, without hesitation. I'd spent enough nights lying awake, drowning in anger and sadness. Now there was only purpose. The next few weeks were a test of every ounce of patience I had. I played the part of the loving, clueless husband. Smiled over family dinners. Cheered at Ben's baseball games. Held her hand during PTA meetings. And all the while, behind the scenes, the machine was turning. The private investigator was delivering reports like clockwork. Photos of Anna meeting men at hotels. Phone records. Credit card statements showing weekend getaways and business trips that were anything but. Christine and I built a case so tight it could choke. Timeline. Witnesses. Evidence. No loopholes. No wiggle room. She wouldn't just lose me. She'd lose the narrative she had crafted so carefully all these years, the picture-perfect wife and mother. But it wasn't just about destroying her story. It was about protecting Emma and Ben. About making sure they didn't get dragged into the mess she made. They deserved better. They deserved the truth, even if it hurt. And when the time came, when it all came crashing down, I needed to be standing there, steady as a rock, while her world fell apart. There was just one more piece left. I needed a witness. Someone close enough to Anna to testify. Someone who knew, or at least suspected, what she'd been doing. And as fate would have it, the opportunity came to me. It was another Saturday night. Another girls' night. Except this time, Emma forgot her jacket in Anna's car. And Anna, conveniently out of town, had left the car at the house. Emma, being the curious kid she was, asked if I could open Mom's car and grab it. That's when I found it. Not just the jacket. But a receipt. From a bar 2 towns over. Timestamped that night. 2 entrees. 2 drinks. Not a girls' night. A date. The next day, I reached out to the wife of one of Anna's old friends, a woman named Claire. We weren't close, but we knew each other well enough from school events and holiday parties. I told her, carefully, gently, that I had reason to believe her husband and my wife were involved in something they shouldn't be. Silence on the line. Then a small, sharp breath. I had a feeling, she whispered. We agreed to meet, compare notes. Turned out, Claire had been quietly gathering evidence of her own. Together, we had enough to bury them both. The trap was almost ready. All I needed now was to pick the right moment. The perfect stage. A place where the mask would finally rip away. Where everyone, friends, family, neighbors, would see who Anna really was. A party was coming up. A charity gala we'd been planning to attend for months. Public. Fancy. Full of the people she cared most about impressing. It was perfect. I stood in front of the mirror that night, tying my tie, looking myself straight in the eye. The man staring back at me wasn't the same man who had once danced in the kitchen with Anna, laughing like nothing bad could ever touch us. That man was gone. And what was left, steady, sharp, unbreakable, was ready. Ready for the storm. Ready to end this on my terms. I don't believe in vengeance for its own sake. Not anymore. But justice, real justice, is something different. It's not loud. It's not messy. It's quiet. Surgical. It's the truth, walking into the room and ripping every lie apart. The charity gala was held at a historic hotel downtown, chandeliers, velvet curtains, the whole production. Anna had been buzzing about it for weeks. "This'll be the night people remember," she said one morning while picking out a dress, spinning in the mirror with excitement. She wasn't wrong. They were going to remember it. Just not for the reasons she thought. We arrived together, smiling for the cameras like we were still the perfect couple. Her hand on my arm, her laugh bright and musical. No one looking at us would have suspected a thing. And that was the point. Let them all see it. Let them all watch it happen. Inside, the ballroom was packed. Tables lined in white linen. Champagne glasses clinking. Old friends. Business partners. Parents from the kids' school. Anna made her rounds, greeting people, soaking up the admiration. She looked radiant. Alive. And I stood there, silent, knowing it was all about to end. At exactly 8 p.m., I gave the signal. My PI, dressed as a waiter, nodded back. He slipped a USB drive into the DJ's hand. Just like we planned. "Play this video next," he whispered. The DJ, thinking it was just a tribute slideshow for the charity, nodded and queued it up. The music faded. The lights dimmed. And on the massive screen behind the dance floor, the images began. At first, no one understood what they were seeing. It started with a simple photo, Anna and one of her work friends, smiling a little too intimately at a bar. Then another. Different man. Different night. Different hotel. A murmur rippled through the crowd. More pictures. Text message screenshots. Bank statements showing hotel charges. A web of lies laid bare for everyone to see. Each image hit like a hammer. The room went from confused, to stunned, to horrified. I stood off to the side, hands in my pockets, watching. Not smiling. Not gloating. Just standing there. Calm. Anna froze in the center of the room, her face draining of color. She turned to me, eyes wide, mouth working like she was trying to form words, but nothing came out. Claire, the woman whose husband had been one of Anna's flings, stood nearby, arms crossed, her own expression stone cold. Others started whispering, pointing. The mask was gone. The sweet, devoted wife everyone admired had been replaced by the truth. And the truth was ugly. The video ended with a single line across the screen. Character is what you are in the dark. Silence. You could have heard a pin drop. Anna tried to recover, stepping forward, stammering something about this being a mistake, but it was useless. The damage was done. Her friends turned their backs. The school principal, a man who once praised her community work, shook his head in disgust and walked away. Even her parents, standing stiffly by the doors, couldn't meet her eyes. I gave her one long look. Not angry. Not triumphant. Just final. Then I turned and walked out of the ballroom. I didn't need to say a word. I didn't need to stay and watch her fall apart. My work was done. Outside, the cool night air hit my face like a blessing. I loosened my tie, took a deep breath, and for the first time in months, maybe years, I felt free. Not happy. Not yet. But free. Later that night, I got a text from Christine, my lawyer. Excellent timing. We serve her the divorce papers tomorrow morning. Full custody is likely based on what was revealed tonight. Call me when you're ready. I stared at the message for a long time. Then I tucked my phone away and drove home. Not the home we once shared. Not the house built on lies. No, I had moved out 2 weeks ago, quietly. Set up somewhere new. Somewhere clean. Somewhere that would become a real home, one built on something stronger than illusions. Anna's world had collapsed tonight. But mine? Mine was just beginning. People think the explosion is the hard part. The big reveal, the betrayal uncovered, the lies shattered. But the real battle? The real battle comes after. When the dust settles. When the crowd goes home. When it's just you, standing in the wreckage, deciding what kind of man you're going to be now. The morning after the gala, the divorce papers were served. According to Christine, it was clean and brutal. A knock at Anna's door. A manila envelope handed over without a word. The look on her face. Christine said she'd seen it before, a woman realizing she wasn't going to talk her way out of this one. The papers included everything. Evidence. Witness lists. A demand for full custody of Emma and Ben. Retention of the house. Financial claims tied neatly with a bow. She'd have no chance to spin it, to twist it into something it wasn't. This was war. And I had already won before the first shot was fired. At the preliminary hearing, Anna showed up looking like a ghost of the woman she once was. Gone was the perfect makeup, the polished confidence. She sat stiffly beside her lawyer, some mid-level attorney she must have hired in a panic, glancing at me now and then like she was searching for a crack, a weakness. She didn't find one. I didn't even look at her. Not because I hated her. Because she wasn't mine to look at anymore. The judge reviewed the evidence in silence. The texts. The hotel records. The witness statements. The video from the gala had been entered into the record, sanitized, of course, to protect privacy, but the damage was clear. When the judge finally spoke, his voice was clipped and cold. He called Anna's actions a betrayal of marital trust and a pattern of reckless behavior endangering the emotional well-being of the minor children. He awarded me primary custody of Emma and Ben. Sole residence of the family home. Majority control of our joint assets. Anna was granted limited visitation, conditional on completing a parenting course and proving she could maintain a stable environment. Financially, she took a beating. Her share was reduced. Spousal support denied. Child support. She would be paying me. I didn't crack a smile. I didn't gloat. I sat there, calm, while her world, the world she built on lies, collapsed around her. Outside the courthouse, Anna tried to approach me. "Please, can we just talk?" she said, voice trembling. I shook my head. "There's nothing left to say." I meant it. There were no apologies big enough. No explanations good enough. Some things, once broken, don't get put back together. In the weeks that followed, the fallout hit her hard. Her reputation. Gone. She resigned from the community board she used to chair. Parents at the kids' school, people she once charmed with bake sales and fundraisers, avoided her like a contagion. Word spread fast in towns like ours. She lost friends. Opportunities. Even her parents, embarrassed beyond words, kept their distance. The men she once entertained. They disappeared faster than smoke. Turns out, people who cheat with you rarely stay loyal to you when things get messy. Funny how that works. As for me, I started building. Slowly. Brick by brick. I took time off work, focused on the kids, on healing, on rebuilding a home that felt safe again. The first night it was just me, Emma, and Ben in the house. I cooked a terrible spaghetti dinner. Burnt the garlic bread. Forgot the salad. Emma giggled and Ben threw a noodle at me. For the first time in months, I laughed. A real laugh. We were going to be okay. Maybe even better than okay. I didn't pretend it didn't hurt. There were nights I sat on the back porch after they went to bed, staring up at the stars, wondering how the hell everything had gone so wrong. I grieved the woman I thought Anna was. The marriage I thought we had. But grief is a season. It passes. And somewhere in the middle of it all, I realized something simple and powerful. She didn't break me. She broke herself. I was still standing. Healing isn't some loud, glorious moment. It's quiet. It's slow. It's 1,000 tiny steps you don't even notice until one day you wake up and realize the weight you've been carrying isn't crushing you anymore. That's how it was for me. No fireworks. No dramatic turning point. Just, life, starting again. The first time I saw her, it was nothing special. I was standing in line at a coffee shop, same one I'd been dragging myself to every morning to survive another workday, when she dropped her keys. They clattered to the floor between us. I bent down to pick them up, and when I handed them back, our eyes met. Just for a second. But something shifted. Not some wild spark. Not instant love. Just recognition. Like two people who'd both seen the storm, and were still standing. Her name was Rachel. Single mom. 2 kids of her own. Divorced after her husband blindsided her with an affair and a new life he built without her. She didn't tell me all of that right away. Took months of cautious conversations, of meeting for coffee, of bumping into each other at the grocery store, before either of us trusted the air between us enough to breathe easy. Neither of us was looking for anything. That's probably why it worked. It wasn't some whirlwind romance. It was slow. Careful. A dinner here. A walk there. Sitting on park benches while our kids played. We talked about everything, and nothing. Sometimes we talked about the pain. More often, we didn't. We didn't need to. It was there, stitched into both of us. A quiet understanding. No judgment. No pretending. Just, 2 people who knew what it was like to have everything you trusted ripped away, and to keep living anyway. The first time she reached for my hand, it was raining. The kids were chasing each other across a muddy soccer field, laughing, slipping, yelling. Rachel just laughed, watching them, and without looking, slid her hand into mine. No big speech. No declaration. Just her hand, warm, real, and mine closing around it. And for the first time in a long time, I didn't feel alone. The years that followed weren't perfect. There were bad days. Hard conversations. Moments when the ghosts of the past crept up on us and made everything heavier than it needed to be. But the difference was, we faced them together. No lies. No masks. Rachel didn't need me to be perfect. I didn't need her to be unbroken. We didn't fix each other. We just stood beside each other while we fixed ourselves. And somehow, that was enough. We got married 2 years later. Simple ceremony. Just the kids, a few close friends, and us. No grand vows. No elaborate promises. Just honesty. I'm not perfect, I told her. Neither am I, she said, smiling through tears. And somehow, that felt more sacred than any fairy tale ever could. Our home is smaller than the one I built with Anna. But it's warmer. It's full of laughter, real laughter. Arguments, too. Because real love isn't spotless. It's messy. It's scarred. It's choosing each other, over and over again, even when it would be easier to walk away. And every night, when I tuck Emma and Ben into bed, and Rachel kisses her own kids goodnight, and we fall asleep with tired bodies and quiet hearts, I know. I didn't just survive. I won. Some betrayals will break you if you let them. Some will bury you if you don't get up. But if you're stubborn enough, if you're patient enough, if you hold your ground even when the ground feels like it's falling away, one day, you'll look back at the wreckage. And you'll realize. You didn't lose. You escaped. And what you built after was better than anything you left behind.